All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. Today we got a lot to cover. We're going to dive into the crypto space, talk about all the news that's happened since we did our live stream yesterday. We're going to look at a market update, what's going on with the Ethereum price, what's going on with Bitcoin, and everything else that's kind of correlated and looking like it's doing sort of the same thing, which is pretty positive. All right, we're going to talk about that today. Why I'm bullish on this space right now and what I think about that. So before we get into that, if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to become a blockchain master step-by-step from start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right, so we got people joining in the stream here. We got Sunny. Awesome. Can y'all hear me okay? Let's see here. Sorry, I think we had a little technical problem with the stream. Yeah, awesome. Perfect. All right, thanks everybody. So we got more people jumping in now. We got Aaron, we got Elliot, we got Clark, Mikey. Awesome. Yeah, very cool. So let's go ahead and jump into, let's go ahead and see what's going on with the price of Ether and also Bitcoin and others, because everything's looking relatively the same right now. At least, in, some of the big players. So let's go ahead and check on this, okay? So let's start with ETH. So the thing I want to talk about today is this, this move right here that happened, okay? So we've been watching this, of course, during the live streams. ETH made its move towards 2K, which I was thinking was going to happen. All right. And as soon as we hit 2K, I was thinking like, yeah, we're probably going to see some sort of correction soon. We've been watching the other indicators thinking like, yeah, this place has been heating up. It was either that we had a correction pretty soon or that we just like rocketed off to infinity and then saw a really bad correction. That was my inkling. Right. So we ended up correcting. It was a pretty nasty weekend. If you were sitting around watching your phone, you're probably like losing hope. Wondering like, hey, is the bull market over? Are we going to zero? All that kind of stuff. But we're seeing this, we're seeing a pretty big green candle, all right, in the opposite direction, okay? So I've been talking about how, it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen after this. To me, it's good to have these corrections for the long term. Because, we've seen multiple 30% plus corrections, especially in Bitcoin during these bull markets. Okay, we can see it's basically the same thing happening. I mean, the Ether chart, while the shape is slightly different, okay, the trend is essentially the same, right? It's going up. You see, I mean, ETH kind of consolidated right here where Bitcoin corrected pretty hard, but this last correction was basically the same, right? So, these big kind of corrections, these big 30% corrections plus, I mean, not too big, but around 30% corrections, especially in the Bitcoin price, really help the health of the market as it goes up and can prolong the bull run. Because if it just goes up like on a vertical wall, that's likely a scenario where it's just going to crash hard and it could likely be the end of the party, okay? So, these corrections, while they suck for people who lose money during these times, can be healthy for the long-term kind of outlook, okay? So where I'm going with that is, you have to also be careful during these types of scenarios. I think this is a time where patience is a virtue because, lots of people are hungry to come in here and buy this dip thinking the exact same thing, that, the price is we're just going to correct and then we're just going to go resume back to, infinity. And while this, green candle right here looks pretty bullish, we could bounce, right? We could go up, we could bounce down a little further, we could range sideways for a while. Again, I think this is a time where patience is a virtue. I'm not personally buying more right now. I'm just gonna wait this out. But the good news is I don't think this means that we're just gonna, tank south after this or anything like that. So all right, so let's see here. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some other potential indicators because I think one thing that's happening right now is that there are lots of people from the outside coming in and seeing this as a buying opportunity. That the market has kind of cooled off. We'll talk about that here in a second. Let's go ahead and check out some of the other kind of on-chain indicators here. Let's look at. All right, so we definitely have come back down for a bit. Bitcoin percent supply and profit. All right, we've come back down to this white area. We're not in the red anymore. Okay. Well, actually, it's trending back up into the red. But okay. So look at Nupal. That's the one I like to look at a lot. So again, whenever we have these big corrections like this, the Nupal metric definitely resets and we get back into the green territory. We get away from euphoria because, like I said, for long-term health of the market, euphoria is not good, right? You can definitely see a short-term pump, but it's usually followed by a big dump after that. I mean, that's historically what's happened if you look at the Nupal metrics themselves, okay? So yeah, I mean, Nupal did not go back down to where it was here. I mean, like I said, if we leg down after this, if this is kind of a fake out, we don't see the trend back higher, we could come down back in this territory. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens after this. Okay, so that's where we are. But yeah, I think a lot of people are seeing this as a buying opportunity to get in. People who, I mean, Bitcoin. Let's look at the current price. I think let's just see here. Yeah, I think a lot of people were looking at this as an opportunity to get in Bitcoin below 30,000. But here's the other thing to really consider is you got to be really careful when everybody's thinking the exact same thing, when there's overconfidence, because that can be it's very likely that something bad can happen when everybody's overconfident. Everybody thinks it's up only. A lot of times that's when things go down, right? When people stop, when people act like things are a sure thing, that's typically when things go wrong, okay? So you gotta be really careful with that mentality, and that's why you gotta be really careful when somebody always like everybody's on social media saying buy that dip. Could be right, all right, but we saw this in 2017 where lots of people were saying buy that dip, and the market went into a 2-year bear market, which was pretty. Yeah, it's not good. Okay, so that's what you gotta watch out for. You gotta watch out for overconfidence. I think this is a good time to be cautious. Again, I'm not a big trader, not a big TA guy. It's not financial advice. I'm just mostly looking at what I'm personally invested in, mostly ETH, a good amount of Bitcoin, also some DeFi tokens, and saying, hey, well, what do I think about the long-term outlook on this? And that's it. So like I said, lots of people I think are seeing this as buying opportunity though. So example are, we talk about Mark Cuban a lot on this channel, but we're getting more into the entire Shark Tank cast, which is Mr. Kevin O'Leary talking about Bitcoin. All right, so he kind of led with this rhetorical question here. Is Bitcoin a currency, a property, an asset? Maybe all of the above. I'm going with a 3% portfolio allocation, and I'm looking at investing in miners that can create coin under a mandate of zero carbon, so sustainably. So I did see another article somewhere else that was talking about how his portfolio was being allocated between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, so this was the quote. He says, I'm fascinated. I'm investing. I'm holding 3%, weighting it between Ethereum and Bitcoin. The volatility sickens me, but I'm getting used to it. All right. So I don't know how that reconciles with this Instagram post. I don't know if he just uses Bitcoin as a catch-all term for cryptocurrency, or if he's just talking about Bitcoin. Maybe he changed his allocation. I'm not sure, but he definitely is talking about ETH as well. So it's hard to say whether he is holding ETH right now, but hey, that's a pretty bullish quote right there. So yeah, it seems like slowly but surely we're taking over the entire Shark Tank cast. Somebody says be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. Yeah, that can be true. The real problem with that is if you do it systematically, you'll buy every coin that goes to zero. So if you're always greedy when people are fearful, every coin that went to zero and never recovered, you would have bought those, and that would be bad. So let's see here. Yeah, so we got more, celebs jumping on these trends. Of course, we've been talking about Mark Cuban a lot on this channel. Huge DeFi bull, has been an Ethereum bull. He did that interview recently with Bankless. I highly recommend you go checking that out. I showed a clip on that in my one of my videos lately. He talked about how he was learning Solidity, the programming language using, for Ethereum smart contracts. He uses that as a way to understand the technology better, and he says it actually makes him a better investor because he can, weed out the BS, what's going to work, what's not going to work. I don't want to speak for him totally on his reasoning on that. You can go check out that quote, but I think that was pretty clear from what he was talking about. So we got, more celebrities in the space. Of course, the NFT craze is continuing. I saw this yesterday where, let's see here. So in less than 20 minutes, Grimes made over $5.8 million on her NFTs sold on Nifty Gateway. Okay, this is absolutely crazy. So we also saw, a response here from Paris Hilton. All right, she's excited to release her first NFT. Fascinated by this, hashtag the future. So we're definitely seeing lots of celebrities start to jump in the NFT space, realizing that, they can raise a lot of money this way. I don't think this is the last that we're going to see this type of stuff. People talk about, are NFTs in a bubble? Is it going to pop hard? Is it just tulip mania? It could be, you know what I mean? I pushed out a video yesterday, talking about whether you should buy NFT or not. Where does their value come from? What are some things you need to watch out for? So definitely go check out that video. The thing you have to think about with these NFTs is, don't forget, it's a non-fungible token. So all the NFTs are worth differently. And if we are in a bubble, and you buy an expensive NFT and then the market starts to tank, it can be really hard to sell it. It's not like a cryptocurrency where, you can just, let's say you buy Bitcoin, the Bitcoin price starts to tank. You go to an exchange, there's an order book full of liquidity where you can just sell it, right? Like you'll likely be able to offload your Bitcoin at the current price. I mean, not always, right? Like if you're at the absolute top, like you may not be able to. But a lot of times you can. There's usually somebody willing to buy it. It might be a trader on the other side who's trading short-term time intervals, stuff like that. Lots of people, right? But NFTs are not necessarily the same. Okay, so you buy like a CryptoPunk worth 50 ETH or something like that, and the market tanks, and the ETH price goes down to $500 or something like that, and then the CryptoPunk's now also worth less. You may not find somebody who's willing to buy the punk on the way down. They might want a different punk. That's the whole point. Like the punk is unique. There's not, yeah, it's crazy. So you gotta be careful about that. So another piece of news that I saw yesterday that I thought was kind of interesting, a little bit of a mixed bag here, mixed message. Let me just pull it up on my screen here. So I know this caused a little bit of drama, some FUD maybe. So it's a New York Attorney General putting out a statement here. So there are extreme risks in investing in virtual cryptocurrencies, and it's imperative that we act to protect investors' wallets. I am warning New Yorkers and investors across the country that investing in this unstable market is not prudent and could cause devastating losses. So there's definitely truth to that statement. All right. I mean, I tell people on this YouTube channel, like, you have to be careful when you're investing in cryptocurrencies. There are dangers, involved. That being said, I personally hold cryptocurrency. I don't think it's bad. It's just that you have to understand the risk that you're taking when you go down that road. Okay. But the real interesting thing about this is the exact same day that Goldman Sachs talks about rebooting its Bitcoin trading desk. Okay. So it's just like, you can't make this stuff up, man. It's like, we think this is, it's sort of like one of those things where, we're saying something to protect you, but, there may be an ulterior motive behind the scene that, does not necessarily match up with our public statement. So it's hard to say. I don't want to assign motivations to people, but this was it was very ironic that this came out the same day that Goldman is talking about rebooting its crypto trading desk for Bitcoin. So we can dig into that news a little bit. Anyways, so Goldman is going to start trading Bitcoin again. Looks like that's they're talking about. It first launched in 2018. They shut the desk down. They are not going to trade Bitcoin directly, but derivatives. Okay, so they won't get exposure to Bitcoin. Won't actually hold it, won't custody it, but they will trade in derivative forms. They didn't specify exactly how, but that's what it looks like itself. Okay. Somebody says they were in that chat with Paris Hilton last night. Oh, it's Clairvoyant. I think they're the mastery program. I think they were on the NFT masterclass. Maybe it was a clubhouse chat or something like that. Somebody says the derivatives market is like 1 quadrillion. Yes, it is like 1 quadrillion. It's absolutely crazy. I made a video about that. So if ETH even captures like 1% of the derivatives market, it would be absolutely insane. So somebody said, yes, it was on a clubhouse chat. Okay. So let's see here. Again, so we talked about yesterday in the live stream that March can be a big month for ETH. Okay. You know, layer 2 scaling solutions are, I got to be really careful with this. I mean, they're here. They're working in other apps. I think the Optimism is the layer 2 scaling solution that I'm really excited about. All right. I have a feeling we're going to see that be used by lots of different applications. Okay. Optimism did their soft launch on mainnet in January. Their full mainnet implementation is supposed to be here mid-March. Okay. So it's not like you just flip a switch and that is now integrated into all these other applications. I don't have direct contact with Optimism or other teams who are implementing Optimism right now. If you're watching the stream at all, and if you want to come talk about it, I would love to chat. So I can't give it, firm timelines on exactly when that switch is going to get flipped to where we're going to see a production app that's fast, scalable, using Optimism and L2. But it stands to reason to think that it will not be much long after that on the grand scheme of things. Okay, and that's going to be huge for ETH. All right. So as always, not financial advice. We don't know what that's going to do to the price of Ether, but a lot of times when these big changes happen that look like it's really good for the underlying technology itself, it's highly correlated with an increase in price. And I think it'll be big for ETH. Again, not financial advice, simply because there's so much narrative going on right now that ETH is not going to work, that ETH is too expensive, the gas fees are too high, that everybody else has this magic solution that ETH can't solve. And that just won't hold water anymore. You know what I mean? For L1. And sure, L1's not going to fix everything. I mean, I would be crystal clear about that. But it will make the problem a lot better than it currently is today. Okay. So that's why I think it's huge. That's why I think it could be a pretty big bullish catalyst for the price of ETH. Again, not financial advice, no guarantees on that, but that's what the correlation is in these markets. So, unless something else happens, maybe the entire market's on the way out at that point. I doubt it, but those would be the caveats. All right, so let's see here. Somebody says, how can I put my artwork as an NFT? So, we recently did this NFT masterclass. There were lots of people who were wondering the same type of thing. I can tell you the basics of what you need. I mean, you could go to a platform that just mints NFTs. I mean, we saw that's what some of these, That's what some of these, influencers are doing. Like I'll show you. Let's see here. You know, well, let me pull it up here. So this was Grimes doing it on, Nifty Gateway. So it was owned by Gemini, the big cryptocurrency exchange. Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss. So some people are doing these off-the-shelf solutions. You know what I mean? I know some people, like particularly artists, want to create their own website, so it's their own platform. That's what we did inside the NFT masterclass. So essentially, what you would need there, you need the smart contract. That's how non-fungible token works. So you need some sort of Ethereum smart contract, put it on the network that controls your NFT, your non-fungible token. You need a website in order to sell it. And those are the real two basic things. You need to host the artwork in a decentralized way to really make it a good NFT. So you want to put the artwork on something like IPFS, for example. It's a distributed file storage system, and then assign that to your smart contracts for the NFTs. Somebody says, "Well, wait till mainnet is out to reduce fees." Um, so I'm assuming they're talking about Optimism mainnet. It depends on what you want to do. If there are certain activities that you want to perform, then it might be worth waiting. I'm not really sure exactly the question that you're asking. The one thing to understand though is whenever Optimism launches or one of these other scaling solutions launch, I mean, we've seen lots of other ones like Starkware just launched on DYDX. I think it launched. I still haven't gone in to use it yet, or if they're in the middle of it. I don't want to misspeak here, okay? I don't want to say something that's not true. I talked about this the other day on the stream, but it's kind of starting to escape my memory. I mean, there's a lot that goes on in this space. It's hard to keep up with every single detail 100% accurately. But anyways, the whole point here is whenever you implement a layer 2 scaling solution like this, the liquidity actually has to move to that layer. So even after you implement it, there's still a migration process that has to happen to make that layer useful. Okay. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a bunch of incentives for users to do this. I mean, there's already an incentive with the low gas fees. Like if you move to layer 2, all your activity on there is going to be cheaper. You know what I mean? So that's an incentive in itself. But if you're just holding the tokens, like you may not care. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw like liquidity mining incentives on layer 2 or something like that, where people say, hey, we'll give you tokens if you jump to this new layer, provide liquidity on that layer so that we can, make our app better for, users who don't want to pay these high fees. That wouldn't surprise me if we saw that as a common practice for a lot of applications. The other thing is whenever we see more layer 2s roll out in full force, there's probably going to be some competition, like some battle for the layer 2 solutions. And ultimately, I think we're going to see probably a convergence on one or two, a small number of layer 2 solutions, simply because it makes sense kind of for everybody that there's compatibility. It'll give the opportunity to see what works, see what doesn't work, and then what users prefer. And then once they figure that out, it'll really make sense for the industry to converge on a handful of paradigms. Now, some people will say, well, we need different ways of doing it to make it decentralized. And that could be true. But I think realistically, we're going to find one or two, maybe more solutions that work really well and see those really start to take off widely across the board. So I'm still sticking with my original prediction from January, which I think that we're going to see layer 2 widely adopted in 2021. Again, we got really bullish news that Optimism's coming out in March, so in a matter of weeks. And, it'll be interesting to see how fast that gets adopted into other production applications following. All right, so it looks like there's a couple customer support questions. If you have specific questions on those, there's the email down below. Just make sure you email your question there, and those will get answered, and you'll get helped out. Somebody's asking about the recorded version of the NFT presentation. So just the customer support emails down below. So somebody says, will there be a process to move my own ETH between layer one to? So your assets, there will be some sort of migration. So one thing that people are really trying to push for is for exchanges to support layer two withdrawals. So the whole idea there is that somebody buys Ethereum-based tokens on an exchange that they can just instantly withdraw it onto layer two, so it's a seamless experience for users, and they don't have to like do a layer one withdrawal and then pay the cost of moving it over to layer two. And that can help really streamline things, make onboarding a lot easier. So to answer your question, it depends. If you hold your assets on chain, you will likely need to migrate. But if you hold them on an exchange now, or you buy them on an exchange later, that supports layer two off ramps, off ramps or on ramps, I guess, then you might be able to do it that way. So I'm also talking about a centralized exchange, right? Or when you hold your funds, you don't necessarily interact with the blockchain. If you're it's in an Ethereum wallet now, or you've got it staked in some other layer one app, of course we'll need to withdraw that and then migrate to layer two. So are there cybersecurity rules within blockchain? Yes. Do I think that cryptocurrency will get banned in the United States? I don't know. I look angry when on side profile, just saying, maybe smile while reading comments, just an idea. Okay. Somebody says Aavegotchi launched today. Okay, so that's cool. I've been following Aavegotchi project a little bit. Let's look it up. So this is launched by Aave, one of the biggest DeFi projects out there. And this is their Aavegotchi project. So it's like a crypto collectible that I'm not sure everything it does, to tell you the truth. I learned about it, and I thought it was cool. I met one of the guys who was working on it. I think the whole idea is it's like an asset-backed NFT. So let me look at the description here. Hold on. Yeah, you can like stake the crypto collectibles with DeFi. It's their whole tagline is a DeFi staked crypto collectible with like a bonding curve. So I have to like look at the meta on Google to read the description. It doesn't actually show it on the website, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Somebody says, is my content only centered around ETH? So I'm a blockchain developer. I work with Ethereum. I've worked with Ethereum for over 3 years. I don't have a compelling reason to change. If a compelling reason to change ever came up, then sure, I don't see that happening anytime soon. So for that reason, that's one of the reasons I'm invested in Ethereum, because I work with the technology on a daily basis. I spend a lot of time and energy trying to decide what do I want to focus on, because this is the thing a lot of people understand who aren't coders. This is not a criticism. You have to understand is like when you invest, when you are a technologist, you're a coder, or if you're more than that, and you want to become an expert and specialize in technology, you need to really do your due diligence on what you're going to pick. because time is your most precious, valuable commodity. It's non-renewable. You can always make more money, right, with crypto or with whatever. But when you decide where you're going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours specializing in, you have to do a lot of due diligence in trying to figure out what that is. Because you can't really just like flip a switch and transfer all that expertise over to something else. Now, you can do it pretty fast compared to somebody who's never, specialized and gained that expertise before. But you don't just step out of your lane instantly and have that same level of knowledge. So I see these people hate on the videos a lot. They're like, oh, you don't make videos about all these other 12 technologies that have like 12 developers. And it's like, well, one, there's not much demand for that. Number two, like hardly anybody on the face of the earth can, know that many like different technologies and programming languages. I mean, some people can, but at that point, you're really a generalist. All right, everybody. So that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. If you like this videos, you're just fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? You go to my YouTube homepage. You can find any of my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. You like those videos, you want to the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely. I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero programming background become real world blockchain developers in a matter of months. All right. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.